Xiao Yang fell in love with a courtesan. Before the imperial examinations, she sent word asking if he'd elope with her. I hid that letter, and she turned around and married a wealthy merchant as his concubine. Later, Xiao Yang passed the exams as top scholar. He hated me to the bone, gathering every beggar in the city to defile my honor, forcing me to taste the agony of being shared by countless men. I was tortured to death, my corpse fed to dogs. Reborn, I watched coldly from the sidelines. Xiao Yang got his wish, he and the courtesan became inseparable. What he didn't know was that this lifetime would see him forever cut off from officialdom and wealth. I was locked away in an abandoned courtyard. Xiao Yang personally severed the tendons in my hands and feet. He declared, "Zhou Qiongji, a woman as ruthless as you doesn't deserve a pure and chaste death." Gazing at the childhood sweetheart who grew up beside me, my heart shattered. Xiao Yang, why do this to me? Because your jealousy drove you to force Man into marriage as an old man's concubine. Lu Man. My world shattered like thunder. She was once the top courtesan at Spring Breeze Pavilion. Admiring Xiao Yang's talent, she wanted to elope with the penniless scholar. Before the imperial exams, I intercepted the letter she sent him. Lu Man never waited for Xiao Yang, she married a wealthy merchant from Jiangnan instead. Unexpectedly, after Xiao Yang passed the exams as top scholar, he harbored a deep hatred for me. He sought out the ugliest, foulest beggars, paid them silver to do his bidding. Helpless, I lay in a pile of rotten straw, denied even the right to die. Xiao Yang's icy voice rang in my ear, "Zhou Qiongji, every bit of suffering Man endured, I will repay to you, piece by piece." Unable to bear the humiliation, I bit my tongue to end my life. Still unsatisfied, Xiao Yang tossed my corpse to wild dogs. Even in death, I had no place to rest. My spirit, unable to be reborn, was bound to follow Xiao Yang. I watched him rise to become chancellor, marry a noble lady, and even have his son wed the daughter left behind by Lu Man. What a romantic hero of the golden age. I longed to become a vengeful ghost to haunt them both. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at my family's winery. The maid, Xiao Yuan, burst into the wine cellar, fuming, "That lowly servant from the brothel is here again. In my opinion, that courtesan has ulterior motives." Knowing full well that young Master Xiao is preparing for the imperial examinations, she still sends messages every other day, flirting and courting him. She's utterly shameless. "Master, should we send her away?" My vision darkened. I realized I had been reborn. Back to the day Lu Manon wanted to elope with Xiao Yang. I was born into a family of winemakers. My father ran a winery. On one occasion while delivering wine to another town, he brought back a young lad about my age. That was Xiao Yang. His parents had been persecuted to death, leaving the young boy to beg on the streets. My father was kind-hearted. He adopted him as a foster son and hired a tutor to teach him at home. We grew up together, childhood sweethearts. I learned brewing from my father while he studied nearby, swaying his head as he read. Xiao Yang was as graceful as orchids and as elegant as a jade tree, learning quickly and excelling in his studies. The tutor said that with his talent, he had every chance of becoming a top scholar in the imperial exams. Father was deeply gratified. Alas, when I turned 12, tragedy struck. Father's exceptional wine had long drawn rivals' envy. Taking advantage of dry weather, a fire nearly consumed the entire winery. Father perished in the flames, leaving only the two of us to rely on each other. I was left speechless with grief. For Xiao Yang's sake, and for the sake of the workers at the brewery, I labored day and night without rest. Xiao Yang wanted to give up his studies, but I refused to let him. His talent for learning could take him far beyond the confines of the small brewery. Fortunately, Xiao Yang proved worthy of his potential and passed the provincial examination early. When his studies grew tiresome, he would occasionally help deliver wine. That day, a new order arrived from Spring Breeze Pavilion. My assistants and I were swamped preparing the order, so I sent Xiao Yang instead. Little did I know he would fall head over heels for the courtesan Lu Manon. He even presented her with a moon-themed love poem. Such treatment was something I had never received. On the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival, Xiao Yang was supposed to join me for the reunion dinner. The dishes grew cold, yet he remained nowhere to be seen. Xiao Yuan couldn't bear it any longer. Gritting her teeth, she whispered in my ear, "Young Master Xiao has been frequenting Spring Breeze Pavilion lately, even when there are no orders." The imperial examinations were approaching soon. To save time, I had others handle all Xiao Yang's tasks and hired renowned tutors at great expense. Seeing my rough hands, Xiao Yuan protested indignantly, "Master, you shouldn't have spent all the household funds on young Master Xiao. My mother once said, true loyalty often comes from the lowly, while betrayal often comes from the learned." Back then, I didn't grasp the true meaning of those words. I thought Xiao Yang was so handsome and clever. I just assumed he was being pursued by a courtesan. It wasn't until the moon hung high in the sky that Xiao Yang staggered back. Beside him was a woman as delicate as a willow in the wind. That was my first encounter with Manon. Her lips were rosy, her teeth pearly white, her waist slender. Her fair hands cradled the staggering Xiao Yang. "Step aside. Young Master Xiao is drunk. I'll escort him back to his room to rest." I suppressed my irritation, "No need. Leave him to me." But Manon challenged defiantly, "Xiao Lang isn't accustomed to other women touching him. I'll handle it." I laughed bitterly. Of course, Miss Lu has seen far more men than I. Her expression instantly twisted with flushed anger. When Xiao Yang sobered up, he gripped my wrist tightly and snapped, "Zhou Qiongji, man never had a father's love like you did. A woman performing in a brothel without selling herself is pitiful enough, why must you humiliate her? Look at that." My ordinary retort earned me his merciless condemnation. Alas, I was so foolish and naive back then. I thought telling Xiao Yang about Manon's secret flirtations with different men would turn him from his ways. I believed he was merely momentarily confused and would eventually return to the right path, diligently pursuing his official career. I was wrong. Dead wrong. At this time last lifetime, Manon, who prided herself on selling her art but not her body, had men wrapped around her little finger with her sweet talk. She successfully extracted a large sum of silver from the Marquis of Wuan. Unfortunately, the Marquis of Wuan had a formidable, stout wife. She forbade her husband from taking concubines. And she despised women of the night even more. With this money, Manon planned to buy her freedom. Then she would coax Xiao Yang into leaving the capital with her. Once the storm had passed, she would let Xiao Yang pursue his scholarly career, trading it for a lifetime of luxury and honor for her. I caught wind of this and concealed the love letter delivered by the brothel servant. To spare Xiao Yang any distraction. When Manon saw he wouldn't come, she boarded a southbound boat that very night. Soon after, she married a former patron as his concubine. Xiao Yang only discovered the letter after the imperial exams. He nearly lost his mind, gripping my arm so tightly it hurt. "Zhou Qiongji. How could you let Manon, a helpless woman, leave the capital?" Furious, I shoved him away. If she were weak, how could she have coaxed the Marquis of Wuan into emptying his entire personal treasury just for a smile? If she were weak, how could she have outmaneuvered the Marquis's wife's pursuers, sailed to the prosperous south, and married with lightning speed? Later, after becoming the top scholar, Xiao Yang humiliated me in every way. He showed no gratitude for the livelihood my father's brewery provided him. He reduced all my hard work to ashes once more. Xiao Yuan died, crushed by a collapsing beam, while trying to save the ancestral 100 Brews manual for me. Since that's how it is, this lifetime will let the murderer get his wish. I told Xiao Yuan not to bother with the people sent by Manon. Didn't she admire Xiao Yang's talent, wanting to stage a romance between a scholar and a beauty? Of course, I'll make sure it happens. That evening, Xiao Yang returned late from the academy. Upon receiving the servant's message, he dashed toward the wharf without a backward glance. Under the moonlight, the scholarly gentleman embraced the delicate beauty, a scene of passionate romance. But just as they prepared to board the ship, a clamor of gongs and drums erupted. It seemed as though countless people were surging toward the shore. Torches illuminated the vessels, casting Xiao Yang and Manon's faces in stark relief. Soon, a figure emerged from a sedan chair. Manon's face drained of color and terror. Hidden in the shadows, I pressed my lips together in a smile. The show was about to begin. If this adulterous pair thought they could fly away together, they'd be heading straight to hell. The figure was none other than the plump wife of the Marquis of Wuan. She carried considerable weight. With each step she took, the ground trembled 3 times. She grabbed Manon's chin. "You slut. You think you can run off with my money?" Manon wept like a rain-soaked pear blossom. "Madam. Madam, surely there's some misunderstanding? You took advantage of my husband's drunkenness to trick him into paying your ransom like a sucker, and you dare call it a misunderstanding. What state is the Marquis of Wuan in now? Without my family's support, he couldn't even afford salt." The Marquis of Wuan covered his face in shame. He didn't dare make a sound, much less beg for mercy. Manon was slapped more than a dozen times. Her once alluring face swelled like a pig's head. Xiao Yang was heartbroken. He struggled with all his might to break free from the servant's grip and rushed forward to shield Manon. Such devotion! It made me want to vomit. The plump lady pursed her lips, eyed him, and spat contemptuously. "Humph. So you're the pretty boy kept by that fox spirit?" "No." Xiao Yang, ever proud and haughty, would not tolerate such humiliation. A servant whispered into his wife's ear, "He's the adopted son of the Zhou family brewery." The plump lady feigned sudden understanding. "So you're that traitorous little bastard. Through Zhou's family's ups and downs these years, they never stopped funding your education. Yet you've thrown away their reputation, running off with a whore. What a hypocritical phony!" "Well said. Worth every drop of the 2 free casks of fine wine I sent to the Marquis's mansion." Helpfully, he also informed the mistress about Manon's scheme to swindle money and flee. Let this pair of dogs taste firsthand what it feels like to use someone else's blade to kill. A night of drama unfolded. The Spring Breeze Pavilion dared not cross the Marquis of Wuan's household. They coughed up the ransom money for Manon's freedom. The plump madam still wasn't satisfied. She had someone pin the vixen down and used her own hefty frame to crush her. Now Manon wasn't just swollen-faced, 2 of her ribs were broken too. She lay moaning and groaning in bed, nursing her injuries. Xiao Yang was furious, but also deeply heartbroken. He refused to sit idly by. Early the next morning, he stumbled into the account's office, stammering as he requested 5,000 taels. The steward, Uncle Liang, was taken aback. Though in the past, I'd spent generously on Xiao Yang, hiring renowned tutors, buying the finest brushes, ink, paper, and inkstones, and even let him personally collect funds from the account's office during busy times, this was the first time he'd ever asked for such a large sum at once. Uncle Liang dared not decide on his own and rushed to the brewery to report. Xiao Yuan's face was tense, dreading my agreement. No way. I wasn't the same sucker who used to spend lavishly on Xiao Yang anymore. Xiao Yang, who had followed him, grew impatient. "Jiangji, give me the money. It's truly urgent." I raised an eyebrow. "Tell me, are you seeking guidance from some high-fee scholar, or stumbling upon a priceless manuscript?" He fell silent. Deliberately, I lamented before the servants. "Xiao Yang, don't think I don't know where you were last night. Packing your bags in the dead of night to elope with that courtesan, how can you face father's teachings?" His face drained instantly. He forced himself to say, "I was wrong not to tell you about the elopement. But Man is utterly innocent. Without the ransom silver, she'd have to return to that filthy place." My gaze turned icy. What if I still refused to give it? Xiao Yang grew desperate. "Zhou Qiangji, you were born into wealth and privilege. How could you harbor such a vicious heart?" At this moment, he hadn't yet cultivated the cunning that would come with his future role as chancellor. Driven by his urgency to save his beloved, harsh words slipped from his lips. Everyone present felt their teeth grind in anger and their hearts grow cold. When father was alive, he treated his adopted son like his own flesh and blood. Xiao Yang had been frail since childhood, so father spared no expense hiring renowned physicians, brewing bowl after bowl of costly medicinal concoctions. After our family's decline, I gritted my teeth rebuilding the distillery. I worked myself to the bone to send him to the finest academy, while I went years without buying new clothes. And in the end, Xiao Yang insults me as vicious, all for some courtesan. Loving a man truly brings misfortune. Suppressing the raging hatred in my heart, I sneered, "Yes, you're the kindest, the most noble. Then stop eating Zhou family rice. Go borrow money from your classmates to save him." Seeing I offered no way out, a flicker of hatred passed through Xiao Yang's cold, jade-like eyes. He turned and swept away. His departure was so swift, surely because he knew I was fuming. Once my anger cooled, he'd come crawling back. It had always been this way since childhood. Xiao Yang was aloof by nature. When provoked, he'd retreat to his room and sulk. He was handsome. I couldn't bear to let him stay angry for long. The candied hawthorn I'd bought from the bustling market was sweet and sticky. I popped it into his mouth, and in no time, he was appeased. Spoiled by those who favored him, he grew reckless and unrestrained. Seeing my sudden change of heart, Xiao Yuan clapped her hands in delight. But soon her spirits sank as she muttered, "Young Master Xiao has many friends at the academy. What if he borrows the money? Could he really redeem that fox spirit and bring her home? What a pipe dream!" I spread the news of their elopement through storytellers that very night. By dawn, Xiao Yang had become the capital's biggest laughingstock. Not only did those present learn of the scholar's scandalous elopement with a courtesan, even the academy scholars and examination hall officials heard of this man, funded by the Zhou family for years without gratitude, whose lust overrode his judgment, leading him to flee with a prostitute using the Marquis of Wuan's money. One may seek pleasure in life, but shameless depravity is unacceptable. Ruining Xiao Yang's reputation was merely the first step. His rise to the position of chancellor had relied on more than just talent. During my years as a ghost, I witnessed him become a confidant of the princess. Yet Xiao Yang was meticulous. He ensured no one discovered he was also the most mysterious and highest-ranking member of the princess's harem. The eldest princess of this dynasty was held in the highest esteem. She was deeply cherished by the emperor. She valued talent, often exchanging poetry and discussing current affairs with young scholars. Those who caught her eye were recommended to the court. The 6th day of the 10th month marked the princess's birthday. The banquet was held aboard a painted pleasure boat. Many talented scholars were invited. What feast would be complete without wine? I brought cartloads of fine wine to the shore, personally delivering them to the boat. A crescent moon hung over the treetops. After drinking heavily all day, the princess was dizzy and disoriented. She stumbled and fell into the water. In my past life, Xiao Yang had accompanied me to deliver wine and jumped into the river to save her. Later, he won first place in the imperial poetry competition at the Golden Hall, capturing the princess's attention with a particularly inspired verse. From then on, his career soared. He rose through the ranks effortlessly. But this time, I was the one who saved the princess. Maids and physicians scrambled frantically, rushing to warm and change her clothes. I left, soaked through and through. I accidentally bumped into a fair-skinned, rosy-cheeked youth, handsome as jade. "Miss, are you all right?" TSK. The princess's male favorite? I'd seen him a few times in the princess's residence when I was a ghost. He and Xiao Yang didn't get along well. Probably because rivals in love are especially hostile when they meet. But later, this young gentleman named Song Yu became the youngest Grand Minister of the Supreme Court of Justice in history. The princess's favor was indeed worth clinging to. Just thinking about it gets me excited. The eldest princess is one who knows gratitude. After learning I saved her, she sent more orders. She even introduced Zhou's winery to the imperial family and nobles. This was a privilege I never had in my past life. Back then, Xiao Yang, seeking merit, asked her for rewards, books the emperor loved to read. Watching crate after crate of silver pour in, I was over the moon. Humming a tune, I planned to have several new outfits made for myself. Little Yuan exclaimed in delight, "Miss, you've finally seen the light." Wearing those brewery work clothes daily, toiling in the cellars with the laborers without any effort to look presentable, it's such a waste of your beauty. I knew exactly what she meant. To fund Xiao Yang's education, I spent money on his academy, bribed his classmates, and greased the wheels for him. Yet in the end, he only cared about courting prostitutes. No one will look back from now on. I saved the silver and started shopping around. The tailor shop proprietor was warm. "Miss Zhou, here again to make clothes for young Master Xiao?" "No. For myself." The proprietor beamed, pointing to the finest fabrics. "Look, miss. This is the finest shoe brocade. You frequent the mansions of high officials and nobles now, this is perfect for you. I stroked the exquisitely soft fabric, my heart heavy with emotion. How foolish I'd been before. I'd spend every penny I earned on a man, wearing myself out into an old maid who knew only work and not how to dress herself. No wonder Xiao Yang looked down on me. This lifetime, I'd never shortchange myself again. I waved my hand generously, buying many bolts of the finest fabrics and selecting beautiful jewelry that pleased me. Little Yuan also got quite a few lovely things. Smiles never left our faces. Master and servant, laden with bags and parcels, reached the carriage at the alley entrance. But upon boarding, we found an uninvited guest sitting inside, cradling a dog. I was about to speak. Song Yu made a shushing gesture. After a long moment, the sound of galloping hooves echoed nearby. He exhaled in relief, my apologies for the disturbance. Today, I was tracking a gang of thieves with my beloved dog. To avoid alerting them, I hid in your carriage. I recalled. At that time, Song Yu was not yet the Minister of Justice. He was merely a wealthy young man deeply passionate about solving cases. He also shared an ambiguous relationship with the eldest princess. Looking at the dog in his arms, I asked curiously, solving cases is one thing, but what's with bringing a dog? Song Yu looked rather pleased. Those thieves use incense to concoct poisons. My dog, Fugue, has an exceptionally keen nose, he can track their scent. Unfortunately, they caught on to this and are determined to poison my dog. His eyes darted to the roast chicken I was holding. Miss, I know you're the head of the Zhou family brewery. The case is nearly wrapped up. Would you do me a favor and keep this dog for a few days? Once those thieves are caught, I'll come buy several jars of fine liquor. A fool wouldn't pass up money. But something else mattered more. Back then, when the distillery burned down, Father perished in the flames. The authorities concluded it was dry weather. But after becoming a ghost, I followed Xiao Yang to the tavern. By chance, I overheard our sworn enemy, Zhang Baowang, drunkenly mention it. Had he not acted ruthlessly, my father might have claimed the top spot among the capital's breweries. Alas, I had no evidence to prove it. Song Yu would one day become the Minister of Justice. Perhaps he could avenge my father. Thinking of this, I smiled sweetly as I took the puppy. At the distillery entrance, Song Yu dismounted and left. Xiao Yang suddenly burst out from some hidden corner. Watching Song Yu's receding figure, his eyes brimmed with disbelief. Cheongji, is your cruelty toward me for that man? I didn't spare him a glance, tearing off a chicken drumstick to feed to Fugue. What business is it of yours? Don't speak in anger. I only feel pity for Manon, nothing more. Before, didn't you only ever like me? If you redeem Manon's freedom, I promise to obey you in everything. I'll study hard and return as the top scholar. I lifted my eyes to study the man before me. After just a few days apart, Xiao Yang looked haggard. He must have faced many closed doors out there. Unable to borrow money. Mocked for ingratitude. His audacity knew no bounds. Seeing my silence, Xiao Yang thought he had me cornered. If you refuse, I'll never return to the academy. This was his trump card. Those gifted in studies often carry a touch of arrogance. Relying on their slight cleverness and superior learning compared to peers, they easily grow complacent. In the past, I'd heeded the master's admonition, reminding him never to grow proud or complacent, always to review old lessons and gain new insights. When Xiao Yang skipped studies or feigned illness, I'd indulge him, buying treats, cooking delicacies, to appease him. Evidence that those who care lose from the start. But now? I'd gladly see Xiao Yang fail his exams. I raised my chicken leg-stained palm and slapped him hard across the face, smack. Study if you want. If not, drop it. Furious, Xiao Yang lunged to strike back. I took 2 steps back. You dare? You think I won't let the dog loose? Fugue seemed to understand. He growled lowly, snarling fiercely at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang had been bitten by a dog as a child and dreaded them most. He fled in terror, losing one shoe in his haste. Well done. Fugue was overjoyed, wagging his tail as he circled around me. Like he was asking for praise. I tore off another chicken leg and rewarded him generously. Xiao Yang was very proud. Out of spite, he really didn't return to the academy. Before, I feared he'd pick up bad habits, feared he'd waste his time. Now, I feared he'd study too hard. Seeing him tormented by love, willingly wallowing in despair, I was so pleased I ate 2 extra bowls of rice. Manon's injuries had healed. She hung her sign back up to receive clients. Xiao Yang was in agony. No one would lend him money. Just then, the wealthy merchant from Jiangnan who had married Manon in my previous life arrived in the capital on business. He came to Spring Breeze Pavilion to buy her freedom. He took her as a concubine, keeping her in a small courtyard. Xiao Yang sought out Manon, his fury boiling over. Didn't we agree you'd wait for me? Manon sniffled, her eyes fluttering as a large tear fell. You said you'd raise the silver, yet after all this time, you've failed. If I hadn't agreed to Mr. Ma, would I have been trampled by 1,000 men? See. Even without me intercepting Manon's letter, she still chose to abandon her lover. Poverty is the original sin. Xiao Yang's hatred for me in his past life was nothing more than a way to vent his regrets. Everyone understands the right and wrong of this world, but they just pretend to be ignorant. Xiao Yang was speechless. He drank himself into a stupor. The imperial examinations were cast far from his mind. But he didn't know. It was I who met Master Ma under the guise of selling wine. It was I who told Master Ma that gold littered the capital streets, a waste not to pick it up. It was I who took Master Ma to the Spring Breeze Pavilion, urging him to seize the chance while Manon's value plummeted. Given a second chance at life, there were so many things I could change. Unsurprisingly, Xiao Yang failed the exams. But he refused to believe it. His eyes wide, he searched the notice board all day long. His name was nowhere to be found. From childhood onward, his teachers had always said Xiao Yang was destined to be the top scholar. He was the standout among his peers. But Xiao Yang forgot. While he eloped for Manon, others toiled in the academy. While he wallowed in melancholy and drunkenness, his peers sought guidance from great scholars. Crucially, Xiao Yang's disgusting behavior had spread throughout the capital. When examiners saw his name, they couldn't help but feel repulsed. That day, I teased Fugui with a flask of fine new wine. As soon as Song Yu entered, he bellowed, "You taught my dog to drink?" Fugui took the first sip. Besides, my wine follows an ancient recipe, its fragrance fills the air. Not just anyone can taste it. Look, now it walks like it's doing drunken boxing. Amidst the commotion, a forlorn figure stood at the doorway. Xiao Yang's eyes were red, and he looked at me, saying, "Chungji, I know I was wrong. Give me another chance." Song Yu chuckled, earning him a fierce glare. I stroked Fugui's head, my tone cold, my gaze toward Xiao Yang as if he were a stranger. Not everyone can turn back. Go now! Forgetting his pride, Xiao Yang rolled up his sleeve to show me his scarred arm. This is from the tavern. I got beaten when I couldn't pay my drink tab. I know that. After leaving the Zhou household, Xiao Yang had no more silver coming in. He couldn't even withdraw money from the money house. In the past, when he delivered bills to the Zhou residence, someone would settle them. Times had changed. Seeing the coldness in my eyes, he suddenly shook his head. It shouldn't be like this. Back then, when I studied under the tree, you loved peeking at me secretly and even prepared my favorite lychee milk tea. During the toughest times at the brewery, you refused to stop paying my tuition, insisting the master continue teaching me. How did you become this person? Ignoring my studies, even disregarding my life? It turned out he knew all along about my affection and sacrifices for Xiao Yang. But in the previous life, he had completely rejected the Zhou family's help. Convinced he was a genius born from a stone crevice. Even without me finding him renowned tutors, without me sourcing rare texts for him, without me tirelessly supervising his studies, he still managed to become the top scholar. A sneer curled my lips. Xiao Yang, how did I never notice how thick-skinned you are? Enough talk. From childhood to now, the money you've squandered eating and drinking at the Zhou household far exceeds the silver you paid to redeem Manon's freedom. First repay this debt, then we'll discuss feelings. Xiao Yang's gaze suddenly turned predatory, like a bloodthirsty beast, making my hair stand on end. Zhou Qiongji, you truly are a merchant's daughter, your eyes are filled with calculation. When I become the top scholar, I'll make you regret every moment of today. Song Yu, watching the spectacle nearby, clicked his tongue twice, heartless as a wolf, fickle as a dog. You change your tune faster than you turn a page. I felt no sorrow. But I knew clearly, Xiao Yang would never get a second chance. Xiao Yang sought out Lu Manon. Carrying Boss Ma's child, she now lived in relative comfort. Money slipped through her fingers, enough to rent Xiao Yang a small courtyard. After all, Xiao Yang possessed genuine talent. He promised her, once he passed the exams, he'd repay her 100-fold. Xiao Yang studied by night. By day, he peddled calligraphy and paintings at bustling market stalls. He seemed determined to save money and find a master tutor again, aiming to take the imperial exams once more in 3 years. It must be said, he possessed a certain poetic flair. In his previous life, he had won Lu Manon's affection with a moon-praising poem. Later, a beauty-praising verse secured him a position as a confidant to the eldest princess. When the verse reached the princess's residence, I was pouring wine. Your Highness, taste the Xicheng brew. Excellent! Does the princess praise the wine, or the poem? What difference does it make? Though both come from the Zhou family, human hearts are far dirtier than flowing clouds. Ever since saving the princess, I visited her often, sharing the latest news from the capital. The princess quickly understood. This young poet was none other than Xiao Yang, the man who had eloped with a courtesan years ago. Xiao Yuan delivered the final blow, master treated him well. After the brewery burned down, the young mistress borrowed money to support his studies. Yet Xiao Yang showed no gratitude. He even pressured the young mistress to buy the courtesan's freedom. Is that true? Every servant saw it clearly. The princess cherished literary talents, but detested ingrates who showed no gratitude. She flung the poem into the brazier. Take it away. Don't sully my eyes. Standing nearby, I let a faint smile curve my lips. Xiao Yang, what good is talent? When virtue fails to match one's station, retribution follows. Xiao Yang didn't stay long in that rented courtyard. The husband is heaven. How could I not inform Master Ma of such a grave affair, an affair across the wall? The night was dark and the wind howled fiercely. Lu Manon arrived, hooded. She knew not the room was filled with aphrodisiac incense. Xiao Yang had arranged it. He intended to bind her utterly to his fate, making it easier to extract money. Master Ma arrived with his servants, storming in to catch them in the act. He immediately trampled the disheveled Xiao Yang into the ground. All dignity, all pride, crushed to dust beneath his feet. Master Ma wasn't one to be trifled with. A previous concubine had strayed, and he drowned her in a pond. Considering this was the capital, he didn't want blood on his hands. He forced Lu Manon to take abortion medicine. You bitch. You ate my food, used my things, and took my money to keep your pretty boy. Lu Manon insisted the child was Boss Ma's. The problem was, her crimson mandarin duck belly band was still hanging on Xiao Yang. Her claim lacked credibility. After drinking the potion, Lu Manon bled profusely, nearly dying, and was dragged back to be locked in the woodshed. She would never be able to bear children again. As for Xiao Yang, he was beaten mercilessly with sticks. One of his legs was broken. The current dynasty imposed strict requirements on officials' appearance. Now, he didn't even qualify to take the imperial examinations. When Xiao Yang crawled to the Zhou residence, he looked utterly pitiful. Uncle Liang rushed over to tell me, young miss, when the master found him all those years ago, he was just like this. Seems the young master has learned his lesson. Xiao Yang's face was deathly pale, his body covered in wounds, one leg dragging a long trail of blood. The sight was horrifying. No wonder Uncle Liang pleaded for mercy. But nightmarish memories from my past life flashed through my mind. Recalling my own mangled state, goosebumps prickled my skin. What young master? Uncle Liang, did you hear me clearly? This young lady bears the Zhou surname. His surname is Xiao. Xiao Yang's face turned ashen as he watched me walk away. Then he collapsed unconscious. Uncle Liang had watched him grow up and couldn't bear to see him suffer. He moved the young master to the woodshed for the night. He cleaned his wounds and fed him a bowl of thick, simmered meat porridge. But the next day, Uncle Liang knelt at the distillery entrance. "Miss, the 100 Brews manual from the master's room is missing." "Young master." "No, Xiao Yang is gone too." Xiao Yuan gasped in shock. Could it be that despite all our vigilance, we couldn't guard against a thief within our own household? Uncle Liang wept bitterly. "Miss, it's this old servant's fault. Kill me if you must." Watching the old steward kowtow repeatedly, I said coldly, "Considering you've served the Zhou family for decades, I'll spare you this time. But if Xiao Yang sets foot in this house again, you can retire to your hometown." "Thank you, miss." The year's end was approaching. The Zhang family brewery, my father's sworn enemy in life, released a new liquor called Greenwell Tusu. Rumor had it this wine could slay ghostly energies and revive human spirits. Households scrambled to purchase it. All hoped that drinking this wine on New Year's Day morning would protect their families from illness for the entire year. Xiao Yuan was frantic. "Miss, isn't that the recipe left by the master? I sent someone to buy some for tasting. The flavor is remarkably similar to ours." On New Year's Eve, the Zhou family brewery was deserted, shrouded in gloom. It stood in stark contrast to the Zhang family, whose customers flocked like clouds. The head of the Zhang family, Zhang Baowang, deliberately approached me to sneer, a mere maid, daring to compete with me for so many years of business. "From now on, the capital will be the Zhang family's domain. Just you wait." I stared at his retreating figure, my voice cold and clear. "Do you think Xiao Yang, who betrayed the Zhou family, will never betray again?" Zhang Baowang's body stiffened. He swept his sleeves and left. Ever since the 100 Brews manual vanished, Xiao Yang had disappeared too. Song Yu helped investigate and heard rumors that he'd gone to a country estate to recuperate. The deed to that estate bore the Zhang family's name. Song Yu stroked the dog's head, this time, casting a long line might just reel in a big fish. "I owe you a debt of gratitude, young Master Song." "No problem. Just give me a few more jars of fine wine." I smiled faintly. Stuffed a large bone into his mouth. The second day of the new year. Medical clinics in the capital were forced to open their doors. Long queues formed outside. All were customers who had purchased Beijing Tusu wine from the Zhang family winery in recent days. Every single one was suffering from diarrhea and flatulence. Even the red envelopes couldn't be distributed properly. Once the cause became known, the crowd stormed Zhang's winery demanding answers, cursing him for selling poisonous wine. Song Yu led officials to investigate. They discovered the Beijing Tusu was indeed tainted. Zhang Baowang cried foul, claiming the recipe originated from the Zhou family and had been stolen by Xiao Yang. I presented the original 100 Brews manual, left by my father, in court. Comparing the counterfeit to the genuine recipe, the formulas were similar but not identical. Zhang Baowang's Beijing Tusu clearly contained two ingredients that interacted in a mutually antagonistic way. Consumed together, they caused diarrhea lasting 7 days without end. I couldn't resist sneering. "A counterfeit is a counterfeit, unfit for any respectable occasion." "Oh, and Xiao Yang must be thriving on your estate by now. Just a friendly reminder, a traitor is a traitor. Don't be too kind to him." Zhang Baowang's eyes widened in fury. "Xiao Yang is your man?" "Of course not. I kicked him out of the Zhou family long ago. But he's always been deeply calculating and fiercely vengeful. He likely seized the chance to give you counterfeit goods, hoping customers would return them demanding refunds. When you suffer heavy losses and come after me, he'll reap the benefits." "That little bastard!" Zhang Baowang, enraged and humiliated, sent men to the estate to beat Xiao Yang. The wounds he'd barely healed reopened. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the sparrow behind. Song Yu arrested Zhang Baowang on charges of harming the people. In the process, the long-buried arson of the Zhou family brewery was uncovered. Father's exquisite brew had long drawn the envy of rivals. The arsonist from that year was hiding in a village outside the city. Fearing he might spill the beans, Zhang Baowang had kept him locked in a cellar for years. Day after day, no sunlight touched him. Song Yu led Fu Gui through the house, searching until they found the man. To save his own skin, the man quickly confessed everything. Zhang Baowang had committed murder for the sake of cutthroat competition. Looking at his arrogant face, I finally saw fear. I lunged forward, punching and kicking him furiously. Murderers will face divine retribution. Song Yu turned away, clutching Fugui, pretending not to see my attack. Zhang Bao Wang, blood streaming down his face, howled in pain, "Stop hitting me. Wasn't it you who ruined me financially? So what if it was?" I knew all along that Xiao Yang, whose path to the imperial examinations was blocked and whose connections to influential figures were cut off, would inevitably resort to underhanded schemes. That's why I staged the act with Uncle Liang. One played the stern enforcer, the other the lenient mediator. All to give him the chance to steal the 100 Brews manual. So he could trade it with Zhang Baowang for a large sum of money. Zhang Baowang was cautious and suspicious by nature. That's why the arson at the brewery never came to light. Uncle Liang deliberately cowed out at the distillery entrance while Xiao Yuan stomped her feet in fury beside him. The performance was heartfelt and convincing. All to make him firmly believe Xiao Yang had succeeded. Every soul at the Zhou family winery was part of the Avengers. The blood feuds left unavenged in our past lives? This lifetime, we'd exact every last drop of vengeance. Zhang Baowang was sentenced to be beheaded after the autumn harvest. His distillery became notorious, bankrupt overnight, leaving him with a broken family. Xiao Yang didn't fare much better. The Zhang family's methods of torture were brutal. Bamboo skewers were driven into all 10 of his fingers. Every tendon in his feet was severed. His body was scarred from branding irons. His thighs were lacerated by broken blades, blood flowing freely. The sight was horrifying. I tossed Xiao Yang into a filthy, dilapidated shack. Lu Manon was there too. Earlier, she'd stolen money to flee, only to be beaten senseless by Boss Ma and thrown out. Lovers reunited. But the tender affection of old was gone. Now, no one stood between them. Yet they didn't weep in each other's arms or show pity. Only curses and accusations. Each blamed the other for dragging them into this misery. Evidence that love is built on fleeting romance. Hardship only erodes affection, slowly transforming it into hatred. At night, beggars returning from scavenging swarmed around the snow-white-skinned Lu Manon. Heart-wrenching cries for help echoed. Xiao Yang turned away coldly, covering his ears to force himself to sleep. What true love could a cold-hearted man possibly have? His hatred for me in the previous life was merely compensation for what he could never have. Lu Manon was raped to death. The offending beggars were all thrown into the imperial prison. Xiao Yang looked at me, defeated. "Qiongji, I had a dream. In the dream, I passed the imperial exams as top scholar and became the chancellor." I slapped him across the face. "Did you dream how we, your father and daughter, treated you so well? How you ended up killing me? Qiongji, it wasn't real. Please save me." Saving him was impossible. I poured a bottle of liquor over Xiao Yang. This stuff would make his wounds heal even slower. It would seep into his heart meridians, causing unbearable agony. Crying out for his parents wouldn't help. He lay sprawled at my feet, his back covered in gruesome bloodstains. "It shouldn't be like this. You used to adore me so much, how could you bear to hurt me?" I spat, "Pa. I feel sick thinking I ever liked you. Xiao Yang, go on your way. In your next life, be a pig or a dog, just stay away from the Zhou family." I pulled my collar tight and never looked back. In the 3rd month of spring, all things revived. After the Zhang family fell, the Zhou family's business flourished even more. I was swamped at the brewery. I hadn't even eaten. Just as I was about to faint from hunger, a delicious aroma wafted over. Song Yu walked in carrying a roasted chicken. This guy kept coming by for free drinks. Always picking the most expensive ones. How infuriating! With grease dripping from my mouth, I teased him, "My new Cloud Spring brew is plentiful at the princess's place. Why not drink hers?" I hadn't forgotten. This guy was the princess's male favorite. Why keep bringing up my cousin? Just can't stand that she has a prince consort yet keeps a harem of men. Well, the prince consort secretly keeps mistresses. Ahem. I nearly choked on my chicken leg. What? You mean the princess is your cousin? Shoo. A distant one. I don't want people knowing our connection, they all think I'm climbing the ladder through her. I'll become Minister of Justice through my own merit. So you're actually my cousin, not a male favorite. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Song Yu's face flushed crimson. Zhou Qiongji, don't tell me you ignored my advances all this time because you thought I was the princess's male favorite? I bit into a chicken wing to mask my awkwardness. He huffed indignantly. No wonder you acted like I was some terrifying monster when I gave you silk brocades and pearls, always saying you dared not compete with the princess for my attention. No. He's the slow one, not my fault. Even puffed up with anger, Song Yu remained tall and handsome. I tugged at his sleeve. Stop being mad, okay? How about this? From now on, if you give me gold, silver, jewels, mansions, or fields, I'll accept them all. Deal? You said it. This young master loves solving cases and can't stand such mundane things. From now on, the family treasure vault and land deeds are all yours. See? Even a money-loving merchant's daughter can find someone who likes her. Song Yu wiped the grease from the corner of my mouth and leaned down to kiss me. He murmured, still unsatisfied, you eat like such a mess. Let me clean you up. Getting your way and still playing hard to get? Furious, I flung the empty chicken bones at him and gave chase. Peach blossoms drifted down in a flurry. The youth ran, laughing and teasing. I chased after him, wealth and honor chased after the meat bones. This harmonious scene was likely the smooth, fulfilling life I desired. The end.